Boy, look, them jokes hit different when it's true. Eugene, just take the L and go sit your ass down. You probably need a rest anyway from all them jobs. Y'all ready to talk about it? Cue the music! Oh yes, bitches and hoes. I'm back.
I drop a player like it's nothing, it ain't working out. Now no debate or for discussion, bitch, I'm walking out. My time is money, I ain't loving, let you toast it out. Flip my weave and walk it out. Look how I just bossed it out. Now come on, baby, why you bugging? We can't talk it out. I keeps it moving, I ain't tripping, lost another spouse. I'm just a boss, it's in my blood, no, I won't scream or shout. Grabbing my keys.
Cause oh yes, bitches and hoes, I'm back. Back with another video in a cap. Cause girl, look, I look a mess up under this cap. My hair look a mess. I look a mess. Girl, I ain't feel the eyebrows in. Wasn't about to do it, but I needed to get this episode off because Married to Medicine had me tickle pink. Now, I know I didn't do a video for last week's episode, but I did actually watch it. So I am up to date on what the hell is going on. And them pulling Heavenly aside for a doggone intervention, they had to know it was going to end up the way it ended. But we on the cuffs of that, and that's why the episode starts over. Or starts up, I'm sorry. So the episode opens up where they left off. Heavenly is walking out the door calling Simone a flip-flopping ass bitch. Because, you know, Heavenly gonna say what she wants to say regardless. You know, she not gonna bite her tongue or hold her tongue. She gonna say what it is she's saying. She said, y'all put all this shit together and try to basically ambush me. You know, and she ain't really care for that. So Simone is trying to have a conversation with her, but you know, Heavenly don't want no problems. So they goes up there looking for Contessa. And Contessa's up there feeling horrible because she's like, this lady was really down there laughing at me. Like, real in my house laughing at me at the shit she was doing. Now, I saw Funky Dineva video last week and he was talking about it was a nervous laugh. They even mentioned that in this episode that it was a nervous laugh. Do I believe that? Yes. I believe it was a nervous laugh. However, it doesn't excuse the inability to accept I'm fucking up or I'm wrong. Let me fix this, if that makes sense. So if everybody's coming to you telling you, hey, this is a problem, if you had run-ins with your friends saying, hey, this is a problem, the things you say on your social media about me and we supposed to be friends, that's a problem. If you don't know how to see that, notice that, identify it and fix it, or maybe you just don't want to, I think, but if you don't know how to do that, then maybe you are the problem. And we all know out here Heavenly is the problem. Nobody in this world, in the whole world, social media or in real life, is going to be friends with somebody who drag for them on their platform, especially when you have a big platform. That's just not how that works. And if you my friend, you damn sure ain't about to drag for me like that. That's just not how it works. But, you know, Heavenly don't get that because Heavenly's kind of selfish. I think Heavenly is detached from a lot of things, given her upbringing. I don't know if y'all know, she grew up in a house where her mama kept her in the house and she couldn't do this, she couldn't do that. You know, she kind of sheltered her a little too much. So I think maybe that could be a play a factor in why Heavenly is the way she is. Who knows? But Heavenly don't know how to be a friend. That's just my opinion. So Simone and Neela, Quad, and who else was in that room? Either way, they in the doggone theater still talking about it. Contessa had to snatch the wig off and went upstairs and said F Heavenly for life. So Quad is trying to basically tell Simone that she's not saying what you did was wrong, but how you did it was wrong. It felt like an ambush. She even got in her doggone confessional and said, you know, it wasn't a how did she say it? It wasn't an intervention to get to Heavenly. It was to get Heavenly. Yeah, but in Love and War, all is fair, right? She been getting us online. Hell, she got your ass. Which, like Simone was trying to say, I'm trying to tell you, there is no good way of approaching Heavenly. Heavenly is not one of them people that can be approached. But Quad is insistent on yelling, hollering about, I ain't gonna tell you, let y'all do this because y'all did her dirty. She gets up to try to leave. Well, she gets up to try to leave. Like Simone said, well, bye, because you're not letting me talk. And then she was like, I'm just telling you what you're doing or how you did it was wrong. That's not an issue. And then what bothered me, which I'm glad Simone called it out, because Quad was over there hollering. Because, see, I talk. The difference between me and other people, I call. Thank you, Dr. Simone, for saying cap. Because you went back on social media, and I remember on the post when you went back at Heavenly when you thought she was saying your booty stank. Talking about the lady needed money to fix her own body and the money she spent didn't work. All of that. So don't do it. Don't cap, because I'm so glad Dr. Simone called your ass out. And she's trying to say, yeah, but I called her before that. It don't matter. It does not matter. What matters is, if the conversation was productive, you wouldn't even had to doggone, go back on social media. You wouldn't have that to do because y'all have already resolved it, and Heavenly would have either deleted it or made a statement or something like that, but you didn't. So I don't believe you talked to Heavenly before that, and if you did, it's null and void. It X's itself out. So ultimately, Simone was like, look, this is America, and I choose who I fuck with. And they end up laughing about it and, getting over it. But it's just like, people enable Heavenly. I don't know if it was Toya or if it was Simone who said that, but she was like, y'all enable Heavenly a lot. Because Toya was in that room as well. She was like, that's why she act the way she act. She does. She's actually being babied by daddy. And, that's just what it is. But on the flip side, Dr. Jackie goes out to check on doggone Heavenly. Heavenly standing outside, girl, looking droll, talking about she don't understand. So Dr. Jackie's whole thing is, child, ain't no fixing doggone Heavenly. Heavenly is one of those people who's set in her ways, and that's just how she is. But you got to still learn how to be able to adjust when you're around people, because everybody's not going to accept that, oh, she's just set in her ways type of crap, if you get it. So Dr. Jackie's like, girl, how can we fix it? She's saying she don't know if she can. She really don't give two damns about Toya and Simone. She really just heard more about Contessa. Well, were you not taking into were you not taking into consideration Contessa's feelings when you were dragging the girl on social media? Granted, we all were sitting back saying the same thing. Contessa's stupid, her man ain't, gonna change. We were saying it, we know that. But were you taking that into consideration? I don't believe so. So Toya and Simone are trying to leave. They're trying to get out of there, but Heavenly got them blocked in, girl. So Heavenly has got them blocked in. They asked nicely, Simone, Heavenly, is it okay if you move your car so that I can leave? And Heavenly hollers she can't get in the car. She don't know how to get in the car. So they getting out, and it's just like, Heavenly, what are you doing? She even went as far as to stand in front of the car. Why are you being so petty? And then, oh yeah, I found a way. I got it. It's cool. Girl, the little girl that was locked in that room in her mama's house is still in there. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. She's still in there. She's still in that room. Heavenly ain't never grew up yet. I don't know. Her behavior just screams of childishness. And I don't like it. Anyway, so she finally moves her car for them to get through. Jackie goes upstairs to talk to Contessa. She wants to check on her. And she tells Contessa, it was wrong. Basically what y'all did, how y'all ambushed her, it should have been done a different way. But like Contessa said, well, all the stuff she's done on social media and said on social media was wrong. I can fight fire with fire. It is what it is. If she can get on social media and say and do what she say and do, all is fair. Period. I'm with Contessa on that. Like Dr. Jackie said, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but I tell you what, it might make it right, because 2 negatives gonna cancel out and make it a positive. Don't ask me how I come up with that. Just know that's the rule. Let's move on. We move to the next scene. Toya goes see Simone at work. So Toya goes to Simone's job. She brought us some smoothies or whatever. Tried to do a little surprise, but the lady ruined the surprise. And basically, when Simone gets in the back, she gets to talking about the whole thing that happened the night before. And she said Anila and Jackie basically kissed Heavenly's ass. Yeah, they do. That's the reason doggone Jackie and Simone fell out. Because like Simone said, Heifer, I've been with you 20 years. How you just going to let her pull up and now all of a sudden, no. I agree with Toya on that. On the flip side, Heavenly is meeting up with Anila. And basically Heavenly saying that it wasn't her laughing to be funny. It was just a nervous laugh. But then she goes on to say she felt like her and Contessa was so close. They did the flashbacks of them having their own thing. And then Heavenly goes on to say she could have just called me. She didn't have to ambush me. You know what? If the violation is done publicly, the response can be public too. Sorry, don't call, because you could have called me and asked me because you get on your social media, on your platform and drag for me. You could have did that, but you didn't. You don't get to do that, Heavenly. Anyway, on the flip side, Simone is basically saying the girls do coddle Heavenly a lot. And Toya was like, she never talk about her and daddy issues. That's why she always in ours. Now, Toya made a good ass point. We don't never know nothing going on since the whole time Dr. Heavenly been here. We have never heard nothing negative going on with Dr. Heavenly and Daddy. We ain't never heard nothing negative. I don't know why I be smiling when I say Daddy, but we ain't never heard nothing negative go on with them, but yet Heavenly is always in everybody else's business. That leads me to believe that there's a lot of stuff going on. But you're not gonna say it. What you do is you keep busy, or you keep yourself busy and keep your stuff underwater and your BS underwater by just highlighting everybody else's crap. That's all I can get from it. Toya, I agree with you. Toya's whole thing with her and Eugene was vulnerable when she spilled their tea. Oh, Toya, girl, we gonna get to Eugene here in a second. And then Heavenly on the other side saying that she think they have more problems, and then that Eugene basically said that Toya was the worst mistake he ever made. Now there you go, still talking again. There you go. Heavenly, you still talking again. You telling Anila that man was telling somebody that Toya is the worst mistake he ever made. Do I believe it? Yes. Absolutely. 1000%. I believe that everything Eugene does, including the 15 jobs, is all because she wants it. And I feel like he's dug himself so deep into this marriage and so deep into basically spoiling her to where he has to. So yeah, I believe it. I believe it 100%. On the other side, Heavenly was started talking about Quiet. So then Anila basically says that Quiet was upset about her saying she sleep with married men. Like that wasn't cool. Heavenly was just like, I understand, but that's really a rumor. The lady, they didn't want to say who it was. She's the one who's out here saying Quiet is sleeping with her husband. And so in my mind, I'm like, but you and Quiet friends. Quiet just stood up for you. Do you know that lady sat there and told Anila who the person was and all of it? Basically forward the rumor. Heavenly, what is wrong with you? Again, Heavenly don't care about nobody but herself, girl. That don't make no sense. The producer asked her about the rumor and she was like, oh, I'm not speaking on that. They said, but you just told it to Anila at the table. Oh, I ain't say nothing. That's how you know you super messy. When you so messy, you say shit and don't even remember when you said it. That's horrible. And I hope Quiet digging your ass for that. Period. We move to the next scene. Contessa's down at the job. Her and her husband in their practice. They've been in their practice for a year. She said Scott originally wasn't on board with it, but now he loves it. He makes his own schedule. He do what he want. He come and go as he please. It's great. Well, the best part about this part was she was seeing the ex-wide receiver. He was finer than a bitch. Ooh, Lord, he was fine. Roderick, what his last name was, I don't remember. I just remember all the chocolate sitting on that table. But she likes her job, and she says she normally has a horrible day, but this was one of the good ones, as it should be. She goes on to talk to the guy and talk about brain injuries, because he's basically just getting a checkup. And she was asking him if he had any brain injuries, and he said 2 to 3 that he remembers. Wow. But then he also says, but it ain't as bad as some of my comrades, because a lot of them are showing signs of CTE and all this other stuff. Listen, Contessa said the best. You've entertained us for all this time. It's time for you to take care of yourself. Y'all, listen, the things poor black people will do for success and money is insane. I get it, all people do it. But I'm talking about these athletes who literally tear their body to shreds to make money. It's very, honestly, it's really scary. It's really, really scary. I don't like it. But I'm glad he's going, see her and talk to her about it. But I don't know. She gives him a challenge and said, look, and I'm going to do this. Because I ain't going to lie, I have like a little memory issues. Because he told her he got short-term memory issues. He said, hell, somebody tell me something right now, I might not remember it. Like, he only remember 2 phone numbers, like, or whatever. So Contessa gives him this project, or gives him this idea. She says, how about this? Take a different route home without the GPS. And do that type of stuff for brain muscle exercising and memory and all that stuff. I'm going to do that. I'm really going to do that because I think that's what I need. But she's sending him to go see a specialist. We move to the next scene. Anila is at home and Lil Avir is crying and driving her ass crazy. Now, Anila, you said when Miss Gomez was there, you are a full-time mother and you're a full-time blogger. You said you wash clothes, you bring the children to school, you do all these things, you cook, you clean, all that. That's what you said. Now, Miss Gomez is going, now your life is a living hell. I'm confused. If you was doing all that before, why is it different now? Avil must have hit his foot or something. He crying and acting crazy. She don't know what to do. She said over there talking about she gonna pull her hair out. And for the life of me, Anila, if this was something you was already doing, I'm confused as to what we talking about. Cap, I called him when you said it. Let's move on. We move to the next scene. Anila takes the kids out trick-or-treating. And while this is happening, Heavenly is at home with Daddy. Heavenly's at home with daddy. But she wants him to get ready for the party at Simone's house. And it's so crazy how you say fuck Simone but then pull up at the crib. I get it. It's TV. Anyway, so her and daddy, you know, daddy comes in. Daddy comes in. And, yeah, he comes in. And she's showing him the costumes and whatnot that she wanted him to get ready for the party. And he said, okay. Let me stop blushing over that lady husband, girl. Anyway, because I love me an older man. Especially a man with a, ooh. Let me stop. Anyway, so yeah, she wants to talk to him about the beef with Contessa and how they ambushed her. She said she normally don't talk to daddy about that type of stuff because she don't want to put daddy in the middle of women's mess. But she had to let daddy know what happened. So after letting daddy know what happened, daddy decides to respond and say, look, you got to take into consideration other people's feelings when you're saying certain things. Ooh, I love me a mature man. He said, so maybe you got to, you know, understand that maybe she feels a way, and rightfully so. But then he goes on to say you can't meet aggression with aggression because, you know, women don't have to be aggressive. And you know what? I'm an aggressive woman. But for daddy, I will be as soft as a box of Charmin. Or for a man like daddy. Aggressiveness I wouldn't even know how to spell it or say it, child. Ooh, Lord. But anyway, she showed him the Halloween outfit and they on their way. Moving on, Simone arrives to the party. It's the day of the party. She says she an old rich bitch. That's what she is, as she should be. And they get in their confessional and say they haven't been together for a Halloween gathering as a group since 2014. And they did the flashback, girl, with Toya and getting into it with, I can't remember who that was. I want to say it was Mariah or somebody. Anyway, so Eugene and Toya pull up. Now this is where Eugene and Toya tried it. Eugene and Toya pulls up. And nobody can recognize who the hell they was. Girl, they hollered it was Jay-Z and Beyonce. And you know, at first, I ain't even in the Beehive or nothing. I mean, I like Beyonce, but I don't like her like that. But my original thought was to throw something at the TV when she said that. Both of them. None of them are, girl, please. Jay-Z and Beyonce, girl, lazy and free Anke. Ain't no Jay-Z and Beyonce, but yeah, they pulled up and said that's who they is, girl. They had to put the side by side, and even with the side by side, I still didn't get it. Talking about damn power couple. Girl, bye. We about to see how much of a power couple you is when Anila and her husband pull up. And speaking of Anila and her husband, they pull up in the U-Haul. Got out with their overalls on and their hats talking about, we looking for the Harris family. We are here to help you move. Now, I'll give you this. Toya was very lighthearted about it. Toya laughed at it. Toya was like, this shit is hilarious. Y'all really obsessed with me, but it was hilarious. Eugene dick went completely down into the dirt. Eugene felt played. Why did you feel so played, Eugene? Because it's true. You mother effers living out of suitcase and been doing that for the last 5-10 years. Period. And you don't like that. You hate that. But see, instead of just fixing it and telling your wife, no, I'm tired of this shit. We gonna do whatever it is we need to do so we ain't living out of no more suitcases and we can find somewhere, a stable place and stay. You just keep moving around, moving. So now you're dick in the dirt because Anila and her husband done pulled up as the movers to help y'all move. You really running backwards. You need to be fighting yourself. Fight the man in the mirror. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Yeah, start with that motherfucker. Start with the nigga in the mirror, because that's why you so offended by this joke. So they out there talking about they gonna get you some specials and whatnot. You walk away because you can't deal. Hell, Simone had to say, Jay-Z, don't walk away. No, let Jay-Z walk the hell away. Toya getting her doggone confessional, which is like, man, it was funny as shit, but you know, I don't know how it made my husband feel. Well, you know what? You part of the reason your husband is walking away with his dick in the dirt too, if you ask me. So anyway, they go sit down. Well, the girls go off on one section, the guys go off in another. And I know the producers did this on purpose, and it made sense in the world. So they all sitting down, and Cecil jumps up and say, look, I don't want to make it awkward or bring up the elephant in the room, but I ain't gonna lie, that shit was hilarious. It was. And you know what made it so hilarious? How played you felt, Eugene. What made it more funny was your reaction. What's his name? Curtis says, well, if they were in a good space, then that would be different. But they're not in a good space. So I think it was in poor taste. And then Eugene is over there hollering, I don't care if we was in a good space or not. That's messed up. On the flip side, Toya pulls Anila aside to tell her that she didn't appreciate it because her husband feels some type of way. Like, it's one thing for her, but now her husband feels some type of way. She feels some type of way. Toya, you don't protect your man's heart and feelings when you spending his money and sending him down there to 18 jobs. Don't try to have somebody else give him the respect you don't. Girl, that ain't fair. No, that ain't fair. You the one got to lay with him. That ain't fair, Fad. Don't do that. That ain't her responsibility. You said I do, not Anila. But like Anila said, hold on, Beyonce, it's just a joke. Take a joke. It's the least you can do, right? No, she's just over there trying to make sure her husband, she came to her husband's defense. On the flip side, he's over there telling the dudes, and he tells Kerrion, he's like, listen, is that his name, Kerrion? Kieran. That's his name, Kieran. He basically tells Kieran that he's not never in women's business. Normally the women do that back and forth shit, the men don't. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna give you that one. Eugene, you're right. Normally the men do not do that in any of these sections or anywhere on social media. Not social media, anywhere on reality TV. Typically the men let the women do that bicker batter back and forth. I agree. Even Cecil and Simone talked about it in their confessional. Cecil was like, you know, Karen was basically trying to support his wife, and Simone said, you crossed the line. And did. And the reason being is because y'all have a separate relationship outside of the drama the women go through. And as men, I understand. But Kieran don't see that. However you say his name, he don't see that. He was like, bro, it was just a joke. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And it was. So both of them are right. It was just a joke. And if the joke wasn't so true, it wouldn't hit Eugene the way it hit him. But because it's so true, that joke now turns into a what the F moment. You get it? So Eugene is trying to basically say, me and you ain't never had no issues. Like, why would you come out of the blue like that? Like, you know, we ain't never had nothing going on before. And Kieran was like, well, I don't think we have nothing going on. And he said, well, we do now. And apparently Eugene, his butt hurt. His booty hurt. He don't like that. He don't like that people poking fun that he moves. Like Karen said, we just movers. Y'all move. And he was like, everybody move. Yeah, it hurt you bad, man. It hurt you bad. You tired of living out them suitcases, huh, Eugene? You want to get you a woman who going to support you both mentally, spiritually, and physically. And financially too, huh? You want that. You want a better marriage, but you already stuck. So now you got to live out your suitcases and work 15 jobs and, you know, all these things while your wife go to play tennis and go all over the world to Dubai and all these other places while you go slave like a Hebrew. And, life, it sucks. It sucks for you. You want to get out of them suitcases, huh, Eugene? I know. I would want, I've been on vacation for 2 weeks at one time and I hated living out my suitcase, so I can only imagine. You really want to do better with your life, but you can't. Because that woman you got right there going to have you working 15 jobs till your fingers and your toes fall off. Poor Eugene. You taking your energy out on the wrong person, Fad. You supposed to be telling that to your wife. Put your foot down, pick your nuts up and put your feet down and tell your wife, I done had enough. That's a wrap. But you ain't going to do that. You just going to do what you just did and walk away and say, I'm going to get my wife and we going home. Oh, Fad. It was in that moment I saw a little boy in Eugene and I didn't like that. Toya, treat him better, Toya. Treat him better. Now, don't do him like that. Treat him a little better. He take care of you. Treat him better. So they try to basically convince him not to leave and he decided, I ain't going to leave, but I'm going to stay on this side. Bye, Jay-Z. We don't give a damn about none of that. Let's move on. We move to the final scene. No, before we move on. So Heavenly pulls Quiet aside to apologize about saying she's sleeping with that lady husband. Okay. This is the problem, dude. You just said it again, but Quiet don't know that yet. So I'm pretty sure she gonna see it. Well, you pull Quiet aside and tell Quiet you sorry, for saying that she's sleeping with that lady husband, because that's not a good look or whatever. And Quiet sat there and accepted the apology. And Quiet, this is where I'm going to call you fake and call you out to the red carpet, because you got in the confessional and said everything you should have said to Heavenly's face. See, you get in the confessional and say, I'm going to accept her apology now, but if she ever crosses the line with me again, our friendship, I'm going to have to forego our friendship. Heavenly, Quiet, why didn't you tell that to Heavenly when she was over there apologizing with that fake ass apology? Why are you telling us that Heavenly got one more time when Heavenly was right there? I'm calling cap on you now. I feel like Quad, you fake for that. You so boisterous and you so strong. You was weak in the knees in the moment. That was the time to tell Heavenly, Heifer, you got one more time to drag for me on that social media, and it's a wrap. Cause see, I would have told her to her face, but you don't want that Heavenly smooth knees. Or maybe you do coddle them, like they say. Maybe you do coddle her. Anyway, let's move on. We move to the final scene. The guys meet up at the X spot. They going to throw X's. Why? I don't think that was the best choice, right? I don't think that was the best choice. But they go meet up at the X spot. Curtis come over there to check Eugene's temperature, make sure he all right. Eugene feeling a little better. You know, his fever done went down from all the heartache and pain from crying last night. They start talking about last night and laughing and joking or whatever. Simone giving her confessional and said, you know, it's a bit catty. Because Cecil was like, the men don't never have these issues. And Simone was like, y'all just as catty as the women is. She ain't lying. But Scott and the new dude arrived, Dr. Martin. I think that's his name, Dr. Martin. Not Luther the King, just Martin. But Scott and him arrived, and then, Scott, him and Daddy. And, you know, they dap it up or whatever, you know. What's up, bro? Chilling, you know, whatever the case. And Cecil decides to download Dr. Martin on what happened last night. As he's doing that, Dr. Kieran gets off his call and he comes in. So, you know, this one I'm going to give you, Dr. Kieran. See, this, let me say this. A lot of black men have this stereotype in their head that all men are afraid of them. I'm not saying that's what Cecil was saying. But Cecil was acting in his melanin and acting as if him bucking up was going to have Kieran back down. And as we're going to see here in a second, it didn't work. So Kieran comes in, dap everybody up. You know, I love Curtis. He 100. He was like, bro, we was just talking about you. You're going to live a long time. Boom. Kieran, sit down. Here goes Cecil. Not Cecil, Eugene. Bro, I'm just saying last night was uncalled for. You know, it really was messed up. You ain't have to really do that or whatever the case. You know, that really insulted me and my wife. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Dr. Kieran was like, you know what? If it insulted you and your wife, I do want to apologize because that's not what I was trying to do. I ain't want to insult y'all. He said, but I ain't going to lie. That shit was funny. Now, this makes Eugene livid. Eugene was like, you doubling down on the insult, bro? And Dr. Kieran was like, bruh, fuck, I did what I did. I said what I said. And I'm standing on it all 10. Like, I mean, what you want me to say? Like, what you want me to do? Cecil is in, Cecil jumps up and said, I thought it was funny at first, but now that I know all this out, you know, I apologize to you, Eugene. But Eugene, you don't need to apologize to him. Eugene needs to apologize to himself. That's just my opinion. But then Eugene gets pissed because Dr. Kieran said, I said what I said, did what I did, standing on the 10 toes, bust a grape if that's what you want to do. Eugene gets all upset, and Dr. Kieran was just like, all right, I won't do no more jokes. I'll be the tallest motherfucker here. Eugene jumps up high to call me a motherfucker, and he's so short, him jumping up, he ain't even look no taller than he was sitting down. Girl, that was the end of the episode. I cannot deal with Dr. Eugene and Dr. Kieran. I can't. Now, Eugene, you about 5'6", 270 pounds. But Dr. Kieran about 6'3", 220. You know what I'm saying? You might want to think about the fight, Fat. Before you jump up out your seat and fall to the floor and put your heels to the ground off of that tall boss stool, just think about it, Fat. Think about the opponent. That's all I'm saying. Because Dr. Kieran said what he said, and he ain't taking it back. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode of Married to Medicine. Girl, look, I want me a thug doctor of a husband. I take one. Hell, I'll take a Dr. Kieran. That makes me think he more handsome. Now, go ahead on, Dr. Kieran. Y'all don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on TikTok, you get it. And please don't forget, I said all that, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you hoes later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo dog time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.